Hello, everyone. Welcome to our third webinar about the Traefik that is presented for the amazing msHOWTO community. My name is Jakub and I will be the host of today's session. This time we are going to talk about the tweaking requests using Traefik and its built-in middlewares. The presentation as well as a demo will be conducted by Mert, who is together with me, and of course Patricia is together with us. I saw the demo and the presentation earlier this week, and it's very informative and very helpful. Hopefully you will enjoy it. I'm pretty sure that you will enjoy it. Please use a chat to ask the questions during the presentation about the Traefik and of course about the presentation. We'll go through it later on and try to answer all of your questions. So let's fasten your seatbelts and we are starting. Mert, the stage is yours. Good luck.
Thank you, Jakub. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session. Let me share my screen. Jakub, is it okay?
Yes, we are able to see your screen.
Okay, today we are going to talk about the middlewares. And let me introduce myself. I am working as a senior software engineer. I am one of the community leads at msHOWTO, and I am responsible for organizing events like this and all development and DevOps stuff. I like coding, especially on big screen and terminal. I love learning new stuff about both dev and ops parts of DevOps and cloud as well. I have started to the webcast series called msHOWTO Live, and it will be the 10th episode soon. And I am proud to be a Traefik ambassador. Jakub, do you want to introduce Brian?
Yes, sure, because Brian is also co-host of this session. Unfortunately, he will not able to join us. Maybe he will join during the session, but let me introduce Brian. So Brian is SRE engineer. He's a co-founder of 56K Cloud. This is his company. Brian has a background in regards to containers, cloud environments, and in general about the engineering. He is a cloud architect for large deployments, large environments. He's also a DevOps engineer. He works about in regards to the monitoring tools, and he loves mountain biking. He also is a host of the Debite.io podcast. He's a Docker captain, and he is also a Traefik ambassador. Let's go further. And my name is Jakub Hayek. I'm SRE and a founder of Commentary. That is my own company. I have a little bit years experience in IT, working like a sysadmin. I specialize in containers, cluster solutions, and of course in Elastic Stack, because we are doing a lot of tools with Elastic Stack, trying to analyze logs from the different environments. I'm also proud Traefik ambassador, and I'm a father of a Julian, and I also like mountain biking and different kind of sport activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Jakub.
Thank you, Mert.
Let's start with the middleware definition. This is Wikipedia definition of middleware. Middleware is computer software that provides services to software applications beyond those available from the operating system. Let's talk about the Traefik middleware now. This is the official definition from Traefik documentation. Attached to the routers, pieces of middleware are means of tweaking the requests before they are sent to your service or before the answer from the services are sent to the clients. Let's have a look at what middleware is. You can think that it's like a proxy, so we can play with the request just before it arrives to the server. For Traefik, we can add middlewares attached to the routers between endpoint and service. There are lots of middleware options, so let's have a quick look. Let's start with a basic middleware, add prefix. You can, as you can understand from its name, we can add prefix to the request URL. For example, if I have a URL as domain /bar in my request, I can add foo just before the bar, and I have a like domain/foo/bar and forward the request to the service. With headers middleware, we can update both request and response headers. You can add security-related headers such as HSTS headers and SL redirection and course headers as well. Let's talk about authentication stuff. It is one of the most important parts of an application, and if you have not implemented any authentication to your application, and now you need to add it permanently or for a specific amount of time, it requires lots of coding, testing, and you need to do all the release stuff again. With Traefik middleware authentication options, you can easily add it without any coding or other related implementation. Let's start with basic authentication. You can check for a username and password for sending the request and send unauthorized response if they are incorrect. And please consider that password must be hashed using MD5, SHA-1, or bcrypt. Before we continue, I want to show you an example how we can reduce development costs with middlewares. On the left, you can see, or you can't because it's very small, I think. There's a basic authentication implementation, and it's written in C#. And on the right side, you can see Docker and Kubernetes configuration that you can enable basic authentication. Other authentication type is digest authentication. In short, it looks same as basic authentication, but basic authentication uses base 64 encoding, which is easily reversible, but digest authentication uses hashing. And other authentication type is forward authentication, which we can forward authentication request to an third-party authentication server. I think that's enough for authentication. Let's continue with other middlewares. Circuit breaker is an important implementation when designing systems. With a circuit breaker, you can break the upcoming request if your service becomes unhealthy, which means it starts throwing exceptions. Throwing too much exceptions has negative impact on the system performance and improves the log size if you have implemented logging, of course. And adding a circuit breaker is the best idea to prevent this. There are some frameworks that you can add this functionality to your app, but this means extra coding and maintenance for the development team. Error page middleware returns a custom page according to a configured range of HTTP status codes. These pages are not hosted on Traefik, so you need to handle them via service. This is also a good thing if you want to add or change a custom error page to your application without modifying it. With buffering middleware, you can control how many requests to read before sending them to services. Traefik reads the entire request into memory or disk depending on the size, and rejects requests with a proper HTTP response code that are over a specified limit. If you forget to add compression to your response, don't worry, because Traefik compressed middleware can do it for you without changing your code. Okay, let's talk about security. If you want to filter IP address to prevent unwanted access to your services, you can do it with Traefik middleware as well. You can also prevent too many connections to prevent heavy loss on your system with in-flight requests. And as you know, there are lots of middlewares to choose from. What about if you want to use more than once? I have good news for you. You can chain them all with the chain middleware. And there are other middlewares that we can talk about, like So detecting the content type, adding selected data from the past client certificate, limiting the request rates, and so on. But today I want to jump to the demo and show you some of them in action. Please have a look at Traefik documentation to see detailed information. Now it's demo time, and please let me share my screen. Just a second.
Okay, Mert, we can see
Okay.
your screen, your desktop.
Okay. Today we are going to add some of the middlewares to a container application, and this is a very basic Docker Compose YAML. Let me introduce it. I have two services. First is Traefik, and other one is called msHOWTO, and I have a container called hello node. It's a basic Node.js application that's return the host name like this. And let me tell you about the configuration. I am using the latest Traefik image, and I have three commands. First one is the endpoint. I am pointing to port 80. Second one is the pointing to Docker provider. That means we are using Docker for the listening by Traefik. And the third one is the API insecure. We are doing this for accessing the dashboard, but please do not do this in production environment. Other one is ports. 80 is for the endpoint and 880 for the dashboard. And I am binding to Docker socket. And this is hello node using the latest version. And I have three labels. First one is enabling Traefik. And other one is adding a router. And I am accessing from localhost. And the last one is I am pointing the endpoint to web, which we can define here. So let's start and see if it's working. I am going to use Docker Compose, and I have defined alias for Docker Compose. So you can see it as DC, goes up, there, switch. Now it's Traefik running, and let me do this for my application. Now it is running. Okay, one. Let's check if they are working. Yes, Traefik is up and running, and we can see our service here. Jakub, is font size okay? I can increase it.
Yeah, yes, you can increase a little bit. If you could do that, that would be, I think, yeah, much better.
Okay. And this is my service details.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And we can see your server here. This is my container IP address. We can see the routing. Need to do full screen. Request come to endpoint on port 80. Then it goes to our router and it's routed to our service. Let's try if our application is working. Now everything is working fine. Let's go back to my code. And now I am going to add a middleware. First, I am going to add a rate limit middleware. Let me cheat here. Okay, this is the first line I will add. You can see I am adding a router, msHOWTO, and I am adding a middleware on it, and its name is my limit. And I am going to define some properties for it. The first property is average, and second one is limit. Let me fix this. Okay. This means it allows me to send 2 requests in 5 seconds. And let me try that. I'm going to update my application. Okay, I am going to try this with web request command. Localhost. My first request is successful. I'm going to add 2 main requests, and as you can see, it is blocked, and the error message is 2 main requests. Now let's add an basic authentication, and I am going to comment this and change my middleware name like my authentication. And now I am going to define some users. It is a similar configuration. This is my middleware name and Traefik HTTP middlewares. My middleware I have defined here, and this is the middleware type, and this is the property. Let me clear this. For adding, I can add with users in clear text, so I need to edit hashed. According to Traefik documentation, I can use HTTP for this. It's an fetch utility. As I am working on Windows, I cannot use directly on Windows, so I am going to switch to my Ubuntu. This is a Windows subsystem for Linux, by the way. Now I am going to create a user. I am creating a file like users, and this is the username, or that's Mert, and asking me a password. Let's check if it's created. Yes, I have a users file. I'm going to get its content. Yes, this is my username and encrypted password. I copy, edit here. Now it's done for Ubuntu. And I'll update my application again. Okay, I get a warning. It says the API1 variable is not set. As you can see, the API1 is here. It means that there's a $, and we need to escape it because it cannot read the entire encrypted password. Now this one, and as you can see, the other one is. I'm going to edit. Yes. I think that's all. Let's try again. Okay, it's done. Let's send a request. Let me make it bigger. As you can see, we are getting unauthorized response. Let's check our Traefik dashboard. I have middlewares, and this is my authentication middleware. You can see my user and passwords. And this is my routing. It is the same for the other middlewares. Well, let's add multiple middlewares now. And I'm going to uncomment this. And this time I am going to change this name like all-in-one. And I need to add one middleware. And is it called chain? Now we have all the middlewares defined and one extra middleware here is chain. And we are defining the middlewares in the chain middlewares middleware property. I am to save it and update my application. Now I'm going to send a web request. As you can see, the first one I get unauthorized, and if I send a other request in 5 seconds, I am getting too many requests. Let's look at this on the dashboard. Now I have 5 middlewares. You can see all the middlewares in the middleware section. And let's look at the new added one. You can see its type, the chain middlewares like my limit and my authentication. And it is similar to other middlewares, but this time you can see the chain and you can see the chain middleware details in the middleware section. So that's the end of my demo. Let me switch to my slides. Jakub, do we have any questions, by the way?
Yes, we have a few questions. Thank you, Mert, for
Okay.
your presentation and
You are
your
welcome.
live demo. Yeah, so let's start with a question. So the first question is, can we add custom middlewares?
And
What do you think?
as far as I know, the team is now working on a plugin engine named Yagi. I don't know the exact date, but it should be support soon.
Okay. So it will be managed through the plugin engine developed by Yagi.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Second question, it's security middlewares that runs a security scan on TCP packages. Security middlewares that runs a security scan.
And there is not currently a security middleware implemented.
Yeah.
But you can fork the Traefik and edit because it's an open source project. And after the Yagi implementation, I think we can edit as a custom middleware.
Okay. And the third question is related to the if you use a few middlewares. So if you use a chaining middlewares, what about the order? Is the order important if you use a chaining middlewares? Let's say I have a rate limit before redirection on the config. Is it still working like a request, rate limit and redirection? How does it work?
Yes, it is important, and I think we have a link for that for the documentation. And do you have it? Can you share it from the chat? If you can ease access to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me find it, and I will just
Okay.
share it. Okay, so this is the answer for that question. Just a second. Whoops. Okay, here it is.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, we have another question. So that is interesting actually. Was wondering if it's possible to use Traefik middleware to fake a response. That is, receive a request to a root and automatically return a specific status code or response body by forwarding the request into the service. So let me take that question.
Okay.
And first of all, I don't know if there is any specific middleware that already manage that problem, that issue. What is important here, that Traefik is not the web server. So if you would like to have any response body, you need to have any extra web server when you can redirect user and have a web server with your content, because Traefik does not serve the content, it's just a router. So you cannot have a response body. And I'm thinking if you can use a circuit breaker, because it's kind of that you can redirect to the extra fallback service in case of any problems. But answering direct your questions, as far as I know, there is no ready to use middleware that can send a fake response. But I would try to do some magic with headers. This is what I done recently when I presented Canary deployment. I sent a specific header in my request, and based on that, I was able to redirect my request to the separate instance, to the separate service. So based on the matching rules. So by default, if you send regular ordinary request, I think it's not possible yet. But if you send any extra request, any request with a specific extra header, you can then match the query and redirect to the separate new service. Yeah, so this is, I think, how it works. Another question is about the using any examples on how to use middlewares with the Helm values YAML file. So currently, again, I'm not familiar with this kind of feature, even if the Traefik can read the values from YAML and put it to the middleware. So maybe that we should ask directly continuous team if they have any plan to implement that feature.
And the other configuration examples like Kubernetes, console catalog, marathon rancher.
Sorry?
And there are some other configuration examples in the middleware section of the documentation, yeah. But there are no Helm files.
Yeah. So I think there are no any other questions. So we discussed everything.
I would say maybe we could tell people what they should do if they're having questions about middlewares from now. Should they reach us on Twitter? Should they use the forum?
Yes, let me share it. And you can always ask your questions from Twitter as we share it for the presentation. Now I'm going to share my screen again.
And I would encourage anyone who's here, first of all, thank you for joining us, but I would encourage you please to ask some questions in the chat box if you have any.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to plug it. We're going to drop these links into the chat box.
Okay. And I'm going to add my demo in the msHOWTO GitHub account, and you can find a sample Node.js application on my GitHub account.
And I would say if any of you are in Poland, reach out to Jakob. And if any of you are in Turkey, reach out to Mert. And let's grow the community and collaborate and share our knowledge. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, sure. In case of any questions, you can reach us through Twitter. Yeah, Traefik team or me, Mert, or even Brian, who is not together with us. And we'll be happy to help you to answer your questions and to share experience, which we already gained using Traefik in various environments.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Mert.
Thank you. Thank you, Mert.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone
you.
who joined. Thank you. So, bye-bye.